I love. Okay. So don't miss that. So thank you everybody for being here in pretty gross weather. PEC Syria started in 2015, and in fact, the first family that came to the county arrived 10 years ago this month. The founder of PEC Syria was Carlin Moulton. She put out the call on Facebook just to say, you know, is anyone else seeing this heartbreaking stuff in the news? Do you think that you would like to be involved? Come to the Bloomfield Town Hall. And, you know, she thought maybe a dozen people tops would come out, and 100 people showed up and made a decision collectively to sponsor a family. 2 years into this project, because we had one of the first families that arrived in Canada under the private sponsorship model, we were the subjects of a documentary by Michelle Hozier called Sponsorland. And I think that just a small clip from the first episode of that documentary is a good introduction to our project and to Carlin herself. So I just play that. Don't start it yet.
Gotta share it first.
I'm so grateful for the tech support.
Always.
We had started really, following what was going on in Syria, and we needed to do something. So I just thought maybe I could get together with a few friends and we might sponsor a family. So I posted an ad on Facebook.
Sorry, it's not sharing to the.
Facebook saying, anybody want to get together with me at the Bloomfield Town Hall, show up on, Thursday night. And I thought I might get 8 or 10 people, and over 100 people came. Did we have a clue what we were getting into? No. And so in my mind right away, wait a minute, we're not taking on one family, we're taking on really 3 families out of Canadian size. Think of all those older boys who could be vulnerable, and all the children who could get an education.
When we first met at the airport, we met Abdul Malik and Sausan. We looked at each other and we had no idea what journey we were beginning together. And I am very happy to say that now Sausan's brother Nasser and Sausan's brother Adnan and their families are here, and that is what community networks are all about.
We had a little bit of a heads up through the county grapevine. We found out a family of 11 and 4, soon to be 5 high school students coming into our building. From the moment they arrived, I really felt strongly that this was the place to be. They live in Prince Edward County. It's a pretty magical place. And I think that's being shared with them as well.
Okay, if you've talked to your partner, if you've read things over, go get washed up. And we'll be there. You guys can get started whenever you're ready.
How are you doing?
I mean, looking at Slim, he was already older than probably 80% of the population or more of the school, yet hadn't had formal schooling in 4 years. So I think for Slim as well is, how am I going to get to where I was in Syria here?
And we're supposed to cut it up with a butter knife. So the butter knife, butter knife and this. No, we don't. Where is it? It's what a butter knife is. That's butter knife. You said you need a butter knife. Yes, and there it is. Oh, sorry. Okay, I will teach you more English. No way.
Liam is the eldest, and I thought it was great that he was going to cooking classes. I don't know, or not familiar with their.
Sorry to cut it off, but that's just a little bit of a beginning. So that Sleeman is the eldest child of the Al Jassim family. And I'm going to switch back now to the presentation. Okay. Thank you. Okay, so the jury's a bit funny here. We formed, as I said, in 2015, and we partnered with the Ryerson University Lifeline Syria Challenge. And they were looking to support families in the Toronto area, but they had a rural intergenerational family of 14 that posed a housing challenge. Not every family works in an urban setting. And so initially, Canada really focused its efforts on urban centers for resettlement of private sponsorship groups. They wanted people in Toronto, Vancouver, Ottawa. But Prince Edward County had a lot to offer, turned out. And we had an amazing network of volunteers. In fact, some of them are in this room. An amazing network of donors, school capacity, all kinds of willing employers who would be mentors. And so what we've learned along the way has really helped create a model for rural resettlement. And so I'm going to share a little bit about what our obligations are and what we did as a background to talking about something that I think dovetails nicely with your theme and focus on youth, which is the PEC Syria Education Fund, promoting post-secondary opportunities for these families. Let's see if the fan works. So this is Abdulmalik and Savsin's family, and I think 8 of their kids, of the 11 kids. They were featured in Sponsorland that you just saw. Our obligations taking on this family, we undertook the financial commitment of paying for their day-to-day living expenses for a full year, finding them housing, connecting them with medical care and other community services, getting them into schools and ESL programs for the adults. And our goal ultimately is to help new Canadians achieve independence. And there are a number of extras that we wanted to fund in pursuit of that goal, including, field trips and summer camps for kids, tutoring to help them keep up in school. We have found Arabic language counseling to help support family members dealing with trauma, and really anything that could help integration. So key investments that we found that we needed in a rural context included cars. We helped invest in a used car for every family so that they could run a business, so that they could get to school, and so that there weren't 30 volunteers on call every day to, get people back and forth. They also arrived with transportation loans, and these are big families, as you'll see in the pictures. They capped them at $10,000. Most of the families hit that easily. activities for the kids, and also citizenship fees. There are fees to take the test, and we didn't want there ever to be a barrier to that ultimate achievement and goal of all of the families who have arrived. Here are a few of the happy faces when they got their driving licenses. Moms, dads, teens, everybody very focused on that opportunity. Some of my photos aren't loading. That's unfortunate. Family reunification is a best practice in refugee resettlement. And what we found when Sausen and Abdulmalik arrived was that their consuming concern were the families that they left behind. They were very grateful to have their kids safe in a new place, but they were tormented thinking of the people they had left behind. And so we went back to the community and asked, do we have the capacity to sponsor more families? And the community said, yeah. So we filled out applications for 3 of Abdulmalik's brothers and 3 of Sausen's siblings, 2 brothers and a sister, and their families. And so I'm just going to quickly show you. This is a picture of Nasser when he arrived greeting his sister, and the joy on his face was quite lovely. We had to kind of jailbreak him out of the motel to get him to Prince Edward County. The government really was determined that they were going to live in Ottawa or in Toronto. And Carlin lobbied very hard to make sure that they were reunited with their family and well supported. And everybody's happy about that. So Nasser and Nabiha and they came with 6 kids. They came with 5 kids. They had a 6th kid in Canada, Rehad. Their immediate priorities in order were to start saving money for RESPs to put away for their children's future. This is something they had no money when they came to Canada. They had nothing saved. Every penny goes toward being able to stay, keep your visa renewed or whatever they call it in Lebanon. Their second goal was to buy a home, which they have achieved. And their third is to open a restaurant, which you may have seen in Rossmore around the corner from the LCBO. It's delicious. Adnan is Sausen and Nasser's brother, and these guys are the brains and work behind Papa Ganoush and Mama Hummus. No doubt you've seen their products and tasted them. They also had a baby a couple years ago. Yusuf is 4 now, or turning 4. They also experienced a house fire that you might have heard about in Wellington, and their son Ahmed, the eldest, actually helped his siblings get out of the fire and get to safety, and he was recognized with a Civic Recognition Award from the mayor. He's a fine young gentleman, and he's getting close to the end of high school, and he's starting to think about what he's going to do. Maybe electrician is on the table, but don't commit him to it. So this is what Prince Edward County new diaspora looked like in February of 2016. And we had one more sibling of Sausen, and this was Catherine Khalid. She was pregnant, and at the same time that Nabiha was having her baby Riyadh, she was pregnant with Aya. And so the window for travel closed and their arrival was delayed. But when they got here, Aya's first birthday was spent, and you can see the picture on the left there is 2 brothers and 2 sisters reunited after so many years apart, torn by civil war. So that was a very happy day for me. Beside them is her husband Khalid's citizenship ceremony and the 3 kids. And on the right, that young man is Fouad. He's in his final year of high school, and he is pulling in high 80s and 90s, and he wants to be an engineer. And I think he can do it. We also sponsored a couple families that were unrelated to the Al Jassim and Mustafa families, who also were Syrian refugees. Abdulsalam and Nishwa and their adult son, Mohamed, came from Turkey, and they all spoke English when they arrived. And Mohamed went into civil engineering at York University. And the Tauta family, Munir is English speaking, but the rest of his family was not. So his parents, his brother, and his brother's wife and their kids were part of that arrival. While they were waiting to come to Canada, so those are the kids, we implemented a distance ESL pilot project with teachers who were volunteers, all certified teachers, and they would meet online with families in Lebanon and in Libya and help them develop their English skills before they got to Canada. So that really helps them get ahead. Munir also told us it was really important to them because it gave them actual hope. You start to feel like nobody's ever coming to help you. and you start to feel pretty hopeless, stranded on the other side of the world and facing serious discrimination as a refugee in all of those surrounding countries. And so that's an ongoing program that is really effective. This is just a brief timeline of the arrivals, starting with our initiative in December of 2015 to bring all these folks, and 2019 is when the Tauta family got here. Abdelmalik's brothers still hadn't arrived, and they were on the verge of being approved for travel in Canada when the borders closed for COVID. And then a few months after that, there was an explosion at the port of Beirut, which you probably remember. It was terrifying, and there was quite a lot of chaos and difficulty. And so we did have to shift a little bit to try and make sure that we were helping the folks who were abroad, because the money we had raised for resettlement was only going to be useful if they survived to get here. So ultimately, the brothers did make it. That's Abdelmalik with Abdul Rahim. Fadl's family was supported by a team led by Barry Davidson, whom I'm sure most or all of you would know, Wellington Rotarian. They got here a little quicker because they had a daughter who needed to be treated as sick kids. I say hastened in quotation marks because it was still 6 years after we applied to sponsor them. And they've just recently welcomed their first grandchild. His brother Hassan and Rubiha got here in 2021 as well. Their daughter on the right, Sharuf, is planning to study dentistry. That's her with her teacher. And Abdul Rahim and Hanan were the last of Abdelmalik's brothers to arrive. Their eldest daughter, Suzanne, always wanted to be a pediatrician. And she got a scholarship at a boarding school that would allow her to complete her high school education. The family has moved to Rockland. Hanan has a brother near the Syrian-Turkish border whose entire family was killed during the earthquakes of early 2023. After several days, one child was actually pulled from the rubble alive. And so we reconvened. We had kind of, completed a stage of resettlement, and then we said, what can we do? So here again is the second half of the timeline, with the brothers arriving in 2021. I just sponsored them in 2015. And in March of 2023, we said, okay, how can we help? The first thing we did was we joined up with the Wellington Rotary and held a fundraiser, and they had the ability to direct the funds from that to the families of people who lived in our community. So in keeping with, taking care of people at home, locally and abroad, you guys were doing both. And the other thing we did was relaunch PEC Syria 2.0, we call it, a renewed effort to resettle some of the families whose lives in displacement had been worsened as a result of the new circumstances. And so one of the families we applied to sponsor is Samira, and that is Nasser and Nabiha's sister. And they got here last year, and they've got 5 kids. The eldest of those kids is married, and they have a toddler. Both moms, Samira and her daughter Fatia, are expecting this month. We're gonna have 2 new babies coming. They also have a son named Mohammed, who on his 11th birthday had a severe infection, a life-threatening infection. He had to have surgery abroad. Thanks to treatment at CHIO, he celebrated his 12th birthday here in Canada, surrounded by friends and family. He played a season of soccer. He's in great shape. And they have a daughter in grade 11 who's also doing very well in school. We have applied to sponsor another of Abdelmalik's siblings, his sister Hitam, and this is them. They are in Urfa, Turkey, so it's a less happy picture because they're just not in the happiest place. They've been displaced for an awfully long time. And there's a team waiting to welcome them in the Ottawa Nepean area, led by Abdelmalik's daughter, Rahaf, who's now grown and married. Hitam's eldest daughter is university ready. So I'm talking a lot about school because we realized in terms of best practices that we were sponsoring all these people, but 3/4 of them are children, and what's going to be their future. Aside from getting people safe and, fed and housed, the biggest indicator of their success in the future is going to be access to education. But these are kids whose often their education was interrupted for long periods, and certainly the family's ability to save any money is interrupted by the Civil War. So we established a bursary fund through the county foundation. It's a donor-directed fund, and we are looking to help support, not give a full ride because we just don't have the capacity anyway, but to support people who make it far enough in their education and in their English language development that they qualify for post-secondary studies. Every college in the province requires college-level English to get into a diploma course. So you have to work pretty hard to get there. We also help them apply for OSAP and other scholarship opportunities. And we knew that we wouldn't be able to necessarily help every kid, but we hoped that we would be able to help as many students as we can for as long as we can. We have a 3-member selection committee that reviews the applications. The applications are just to establish need, do they have support and help from their family, or maybe are they kicking in rent at home and they have to help chip in? So what's their individual circumstance? Barry Davidson was a founding member of that group of 3 with myself and Carlin, and now Tony Orick has taken Barry's place. So that's the link at the County Foundation where the fund lives. And I'm just going to tell you a little bit about the people that we've sponsored so far. Ramaz Al-Jassim, the second eldest of Abdulmalik and Sausan, got off the plane saying, "I go to school now." That was the one phrase he had taken the time to learn. He didn't know any English. That's all he wanted, was to get back to school. He'd been working in a quarry for 4 years when he should have been learning. He was the first to complete a diploma. He went and did the Police Foundations course at Loyalist College, and also the first to pass the citizenship test. And so we're all very proud of Ramaz. Mohamed was the young man from Turkey who spoke English. He was already enrolled at the University of Istanbul. He lost a year, and that was a bit frustrating for a young man his age, but he poured himself into it with gusto and graduated with specialized honors in the civil engineering program at York University. And so we're enormously proud of him. Munir was of the family that came from Libya, and his family was very keen to get self-supporting. He focused on getting licensed as a builder and vendor of new homes. So he and his brother Marwan have launched Tauta Construction Inc., which is a badly needed business in this area. They've built a home. They've built another duplex, a spec home in Hamilton. But his dream is to be a cardiologist. While he is running his own business, he is studying part-time at U of T in a degree in human biology with a minor in immunology and in physiology. You have, motivation. He's amazing. So it's going to take a while, but he said, "I don't give up on my dreams. You just delay them." He's just plodding away at it. So we're very proud to help Munir as needed. Here are 4 cousins, 4 of the girls who, unfortunately, the picture of the 3 of them isn't showing, which is a really joyous picture, but they have all pursued college programs. Noel has finished 3-year paralegal. Miriam studied dental hygiene at Georgian, which was actually a really big step because she went away from home to study, which is a very big step for the girls, and she was quite brave. Walla followed her footsteps, started a program in optician. I think she's changing her majors. And the youngest sister of the 3 girls there is Anam Mustafa, who just started a biotechnology diploma at Loyalist this fall. So bright lights. Suzanne Al-Jassim is the eldest daughter of that last family to come from Lebanon. Her lifelong ambition was to be a pediatrician, and when she got here at 17, she'd been out of school for 8 years. So I don't know if you can imagine, some kids take a gap year and they get off track. 8 years. It's a lot harder for the older students to get back into school, and when they're that much older than the rest of the kids in school too, it creates social challenges. But she has worked incredibly hard. We were able to arrange, and when I say we, I mean Carlin, a full ride scholarship at an ESL high school, Merrick Prep, which is worth $180,000. All she had to supply was room and board. So we assisted with that. Suzanne also assisted with what she could earn over the summer. She is a straight A student and an Ontario scholar. She was accepted at 3 university health science programs. She's right now enrolled at the University of Ottawa. And she also has secured additional funding for her university voyage through the Button Fund, rather than donating to us and through. He's helping directly. She can't wait to mentor her cousins. She's telling her sisters and brothers to stay in school. She's very motivated. I'm going to just show you her report card, not to get into the weeds with it, but not only is she getting in the 80s in every grade, but she's above the class average in every grade. And this was in grade 11. This is her second year in Canada. So that's a big contrast to where she was a little earlier. So our fund has dispersed so far $65,000, a bit more in awards. The county foundation charges 0.75% quarterly, and also our money is rolled into the rest of the foundation money, and it grows and benefits from interest. We currently have a little over $13,000 available in that fund, and we do have some expected grant requests this fall that will cut that number in about half. So big picture, in a 10-year span, we have supported some 90 new Canadians. That's counting a few of the moms that had babies here in Canada. And then another 5 grandbabies that have been born since here. So 25 parents, 60 kids and young adults, 10 more born in Canada. And if Hitam's family is approved to come to Canada, there will be 5 more en route. So you can see that's 3/4 of those people that we have welcomed to our community and have joined our community are our children or young adults of school age. We do have some money set aside in our settlement fund to assist the families we've applied to sponsor, including Hitam's family, who had their interviews at the embassy just this month. So we're waiting to hear. But we can't touch that settlement money because we have to be able to show the government that it is there and ready to pay for the people when they get here. And without that proof that the funds are available, they won't approve the travel of the people who are waiting to leave. So, so we have 2 separate funds through the county foundation, and this one that I'm discussing today is just dedicated to education. When we grant a bursary, as I said, it's not a full ride. Typically, depending on the circumstances of the student, but average about $1,500 per college semester. So enough to make a real difference in the student's journey. And enough that they also pretty much need, that grant application for the grant portion of OSAP and, probably to keep a summer job. That translates to $6,000 over the course of a 2-year diploma or $9,000 over a 3-year diploma. If the child is in university, the tuition is higher, and we have typically granted $2,500 per semester, which over a 4-year degree is $20,000. So that's why we are here today, humbly hoping that you kind people might be able to contribute. Just to give you a profile of what $50,000 can do, that is roughly 17 semesters of college or 8 students earning a 2-year college diploma with maybe a couple of them taking a summer semester in there. $50,000 can also support 1 university student through a 4-year bachelor's degree and 5 students getting a college diploma. So really big impacts on people's lives. Another formulation, 2 5-year engineering degrees is roughly $50,000. All donations are tax deductible. And I have brought some rack cards that I've left near the door, and they are quite out of date. These were the numbers on here were when we were talking about 35 refugees had arrived, and now we've got triple that many in the country. So, there may be questions. They're wonderful folks. The last thought I just want to leave you with is from former Conservative Senator Hugh Segal, who wrote a memoir entitled Bootstraps Need Boots. And in the context of people who are arriving sometimes with a suitcase per person and nothing more, they didn't have boots coming to Canada. So we're hoping that you guys, with your focus on local and international causes and focus on youth, may be able to consider helping us get some boots for these young people. Thank you very much, and I'm happy to take any questions.